Let's say you get a flat and you need to change your tire. There's a proper way to do it. So you make sure that you get the wheel on nice and straight and that you don't damage your car in the process. This is the way my dad taught me how to do this when I had my first car. I still think it's the best way to do it. Before you start any of this, make sure that you have the emergency brake on or your wheels chalked. As in wheel chocks, the two wedge things, so that your car doesn't roll. Do that obviously on the end that you're not working on. All right, so here's some great examples of, on this particular car, it was lifted in the incorrect spots. You see here, pretty significant dent. This was from a jack being placed under the body and not under the jack point. And so it was pretty heavily damaged. Also back here, so we can get a different shot of this for you, but this is all rounded here. On a lot of cars, this pinch weld is where the jacking point is. However, on this particular car, that's not the jack point. The jack point is actually way in here. So you really need to know where those jack points are for your car before you try to lift it. Here you can see all the damage on that pinch weld that I mentioned, where it's not a true jack point for this car. All right, so on this car, the pinch weld is the jack point, and you can see there's notches. This is pretty common on cars where the jack point is this pinch weld. You'll see a notch where the jack goes. Fortunately, most jack points are listed in the owner's manual, so go there as your first reference. If you have an older car, or maybe you don't have the owner's manual, try looking it up online before you try jacking your car to prevent this kind of damage. But take a little bit of a strain with your jack at the proper jack points so that your suspension starts to lift the car just a little bit. And I'll show you what that looks like. The tire is still in contact with the ground. That way you can use that friction and the weight of the car to your benefit to get your lugs off. Now, you can see that was relatively easy to get going. A lot of cars, if you take it to a tire place or whatnot, they will just, with the impact wrench, drive them on, and it's a lot harder to get these off. I put this wheel on and I torqued it to the correct specification, which for this car is 85 foot-pounds. And so I know I'm going to always be able to get these off. I have seen situations where people have even put Loctite on these. Please do not do that. You do not need to worry about lug nuts coming undone if you have them torqued correctly. You do need to retorque them, however. After you put the wheel back on, you should drive for a little bit and then retorque them, make sure that they're still at the right tension. But if you do that, you should be fine. And it's not a huge amount of pressure, really, when you think about it, that this wheel is being held on with 85 foot-pounds. I haven't seen them as high as 110. Most of the racing guys that I know are running it at 100 on our car because of the studs. It's a smaller wheel. Even on our race car, we're at 85 foot-pounds. So make sure you know what that specification is before you really start reefing on these. Now, if you're going to be roadside doing this, obviously you're not going to have that available to you. So you're basically going to just tighten those until you have a pretty good idea that they're snugged up enough. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. Now, one thing too that you can do if you can't get these out is you can use your weight. You just set it up so it's at an angle. Put your weight on it. You might need to bounce on it a couple times. Just be really careful because these can slip, spin around, and hit you in the shins. And it's no fun when that happens. Been there. All right, so I've backed that off about a turn each, so I know that the wheel is now loose. Now I can jack it up so that it is actually off the ground so I can get the wheel off. If you're on the side of the road, obviously you probably don't have a jack stand with you, so that's when you really need to start being a little paranoid with what you're doing. Once you get this up in the air, that jack is doing all the work. Normally, you'd have a jack stand like this, so you could, if you're working on it in the shop, that you use this as the safety in case the jack fails. Normally, when you're working on the changing a flat, you don't have the jack stand available. It's not usually part of the kit that comes with your vehicle. Another good thing too is usually the socket wrench that comes with your vehicle is usually about probably half the length of what my wrench is here. It's a good idea just to get a long wrench like this with the appropriate socket and carry it in your car for repairs and for doing stuff like this where you need a little bit extra leverage, so that you can get these nuts undone. Another good add for your car, for your emergency kit, is one of these. If you don't have a place to put your parts, like this nice magnetic tray, there's a increased chance you're going to lose that part. So, nice thing is with these, if you don't want to put it down on the ground, make sure the back is nice and clean. You can even stick it to your car. Then you know where those lug nuts, lug bolts are whenever you need them. If you don't happen to have one of those, take these off, put them all together in one spot, or put them in your pocket to make sure you don't lose them or accidentally kick them. The other thing is too, is when you replace this, a lot of newer cars have a donut spare. They don't have a full size spare. Make sure you're reading the instructions on that wheel, because it looks funny when you put it on. It looks like it's backwards when you put it on. That sticker is on there to let you know which side is to face out. The wheel actually kind of sits in, the tire part actually sits in, and the wheel cups around your brake caliper and stuff. So if you put it on backwards, your wheel is going to be coming in contact with your brake caliper, and you're going to do some really serious damage to your car. So make sure you have that donut spare on correctly. Now, if it's stuck like this, best way to do it is to kick it, but obviously I am on the ground, so I can't really kick it. But you have to be super careful you don't knock it off your jack doing that too. The other option is a rubber mallet. You can turn it. You're basically hitting it on the opposite side. You can reach it. There. Off she comes. So if you have aftermarket wheels, like I do on this car, you'll see this centering ring. That ring will need to be removed before you put your donut spare on. So if you have aftermarket wheels, the idea to carry a screwdriver, hammer of some sort, so that if you get a situation like this where it's stuck on here, you can tap your screwdriver in to pry it off. There we go. Took a little bit of work. Cut it off. Make sure you hold on to this though, because this needs to go back into your aftermarket wheel. Make sure that it centers correctly onto your hub assembly. Okay, so one of the things that's always an issue is getting the wheel back onto the hub. Obviously, I don't have the car here right now because it's still on the lift. I wanted to show you how my dad taught me how to use your own weight to lift the tire, so you don't have to have very much strength to do it. So what you do a nice big squat, rest your elbows on your knees, cup the tire kind of underneath, and lean back. And your own weight will pick up the tire. You don't have to be terribly strong in the arms, just kind of lean back. All right, so getting this back onto the car obviously is not that difficult. This particular car uses lug bolts instead of lug nuts, which makes it a bit more of a pain. But there are these pins here. If you look at the back side of your wheel, you'll see it's got these gaps. That's where those pins go. The pins just kind of help you hold it up there as you get the lug bolts back in, that and the center ring will help you hold it in place. If you're using lug nuts, or the car has lug nuts, that's a lot easier to deal with. You basically just line up the lug studs into the holes and put your nuts on. I'll show you there's a procedure though for putting those on. So let us line up those little pins and kind of look through those holes in the wheel to get it in the ballpark. Then once you got it sort of in place, you get one of your, in this case, bolts started. I find it easier to use your socket to help get it started. What you're going to do, you see how this one's not wanting to seat where it's supposed to. We're just going to start these. Same procedure for the lug nuts. Just get them in there and get them finger tight. If you have these in finger tight, then you need to start slowly tightening them. This is still up off the ground. You're going to slowly tighten these onto the wheel hub, but in a pattern with four. You always want to go opposites. So with a 4 lug pattern, it's just like this, just kind of Xing across. If it is a 5 lug wheel, then you do a 5-pointed star with it. 6 lugs, it's going to be like a Star David. So just you want to remember you're going to go across. And what that does is that makes sure that your wheel is going onto that hub straight. What I like to do is I'll go in, I'll just put a little bit, go across, a little bit more. Now these should be loose, yep. So now I just wait until those fetch up and try to put in about the same amount of pressure. There you go, starting to fetch up. This last one. And go back to the first one. And that's loosened up again. There you go, starting to fetch up. This one just had a little bit of pressure on it already. Don't want to go too much. Yes, I'm going by feel here so that I can tell that's about the same pressure on each one. Now the other thing you can do, you can look through the wheel at the hub. Right there you can see the edge of the white and the hub, and that should be flush against it. You see it's not flush against it in this case. So I know I need to slowly take this in until that's all flush against that wheel hub. You don't want to have happen going down the road and this is wobbling because you have it on crooked, which is a possibility. So that one is loose again, so we'll just tighten that one up. It kind of matches up with that gap that we saw. Anything here? Again, going by feel, make sure that it's about the same amount of pressure on the wrench. Not necessarily the same number of turns, but the amount of pressure that I'm putting on that wrench. Oh, that one's snugged up. So now I need to snug the rest of these up so they're equal to that one. This one's really loose now because the other one's snugging up. Hold on the outside of the tire so it doesn't turn. We'll snug it up too, maybe. There we go, that's snug. So I know that's pressed hard against the hub. That same thing with that one. And same thing with that one. Now, before I go any further, I want to take and look. You want to look and make sure that that wheel is nice and flat against the hub. You can also, if you turn your wheel, it should look like it's nice and straight now on that hub. So before we drop it down at all, what we're going to do is snug it up a little bit more so that it's nice and hand tight. That one loosened up a little bit more. Those are all as tight as I'm going to get them with it up in the air here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lower the car just enough so that this wheel is now putting pressure on the ground, on my lift, so that I'm not fighting it anymore. So I'm not trying to hold it and tighten it at the same time. All right, so now it's down enough so that the suspension is not pushing on it all the way. It is just enough to hold the tire. And then I can go back around and basically use my weight to tighten this. Now, notice I'm not using a torque wrench right now because I'm trying to simulate what you would experience on the side of the road. So just get them as tight as you can. I like going back and around a couple of times. Make sure that I got it nice and tight. Okay. So now I've got it as tight as I could by hand. Just kind of ballparking it again. I haven't used my torque wrench. That should be good enough. Go down the road, a few miles, get back out and double check your lug nuts. Make sure that they are good to go until you can have them torqued properly. Even after you get them torqued, you should go about, get it to the right torque spec for your car, and then drive it for about 15 miles, 15, 20 miles, and then recheck the torque of your lug bolts or lug nuts to make sure that they're still properly torqued. And then should be good to go. But with that, if you like what you see here, please like and subscribe for more content. Hope to see you out there.